Moonlit Fangs. Episode 1. The Alpha Who Hated Him First. Wraith Hollow University did not look like a school that hid monsters. From the outside, it looked like every other old, expensive college. Gray stone buildings. Ivy climbing the walls like it was trying to escape too. A fountain in the middle of the courtyard that nobody ever saw get cleaned, but somehow never turned green. Freshmen walked past it every day and never once asked why the water sometimes moved when there was no wind. That was the first rule of Wraith Hollow. You don't ask questions. You just survive the answers. Reese Calloway was not a freshman. Reese Calloway was a third year, the youngest alpha the Calloway pack had produced in 2 generations. And right now he was standing in the middle of the training field with his arms crossed, glaring at a boy who had just made him look like an idiot in front of 40 people. "Run it again," Reese said. Coach Danvers, a broad-shouldered werewolf who had been teaching combat trials since before Reese was born, raised an eyebrow. "You've lost 4 times, Calloway. Then I'll lose a 5th time with better form." Somewhere behind him, his best friend Milo made a sound that was somewhere between a laugh and a cough. Milo did this a lot. He was the pack's beta, which technically meant he was supposed to support Reese's decisions, but mostly it meant he stood there enjoying the show. "You're not going to beat him," Milo said, not even bothering to whisper it. "Nobody's beaten him. He's not even trying." That was the part that made Reese's blood boil. Sebastian Vale wasn't even trying. Sebastian stood on the other end of the field, still in his crisp uniform. Not a single hair out of place, not a single drop of sweat on him. Even though he had just thrown Reese onto his back for the 4th time, using what looked like barely any effort at all. He had pale skin that looked like it had never once seen the sun, dark hair that fell over his forehead in a way that was clear, and eyes so light gray they almost looked silver under the afternoon sky. He was a vampire. Reese was a werewolf. And according to the treaty signed 200 years ago by both their families, they were supposed to coexist peacefully at this university. Peacefully was doing a lot of work in that sentence. "Are you finished sulking?" Sebastian said, in that calm, bored voice that made Reese want to throw something. "Or should I get a chair?" "I am not sulking. You're growling. I can hear it from here. That's just how I breathe." Milo made the laugh cough sound again. Reese shot him a look that promised violence later. The truth was, Reese hated Sebastian Vale for reasons that went back further than this field, further than this semester. The Vale family and the Calloway pack had a history. Old, bitter, complicated, the kind of history that involved a broken alliance, a betrayal nobody in either family liked to talk about, and a grudge that had been passed down like an heirloom nobody asked for. Reese grew up hearing his grandmother say the name Vale, like it was something spat out rather than spoken. So when Sebastian Vale had walked into Wraith Hollow 3 years ago, cool and untouchable, and somehow already at the top of every class, Reese had decided within the first 5 minutes that he was going to hate him. 3 years later, he still hated him. He just also happened to think about him constantly, which was a completely different and much more annoying problem. "Positions," Coach Danvers called. Reese rolled his shoulders and dropped into a crouch, feeling the shift simmer just under his skin, that familiar heat that lived in his chest whenever a fight was close. Being an alpha meant the wolf in him was always a little closer to the surface than in other werewolves. It made him strong. It also made him impossible to embarrass quietly, because everyone could see exactly how mad he was by the way his eyes flashed gold. Across from him, Sebastian didn't crouch. He didn't need to. Vampires didn't fight like wolves did, all muscle and instinct. They fought like they did everything else. Precise, patient, a little cruel. "Try not to fall on your face this time," Sebastian said. "It's embarrassing for both of us." Wow, was that a joke? Did the ice finally crack? "I don't joke. Could have fooled me. You're hilarious. Truly. A comedy legend." Coach Danvers blew the whistle before Reese could say anything else, and the field went quiet except for the sound of Reese moving. He came in low and fast, the way he'd trained for years, aiming for Sebastian's legs to take him down before he could do that thing he did. That horrible thing where he just stepped half an inch to the side at the exact right moment. Reese had studied it 40 times and still couldn't predict it. This time, though, Sebastian didn't step aside. This time, he caught Reese by the wrist mid-lunge, spun with the momentum instead of against it, and used Reese's own speed to pull him in close. So close that for one absurd second, Reese's chest was pressed against Sebastian's, his face inches from that unfairly symmetrical jaw. both of them frozen mid-motion like the world had hit pause. Reese's heart did something stupid and traitorous. "Yield," Sebastian said quietly, only for him. His voice had dropped, lost its usual bored edge. It sounded almost surprised. "Never," Reese breathed back, refusing to move, refusing to admit that his skin felt like it was on fire everywhere Sebastian was touching him. For a second, just one, Sebastian's grip loosened. His eyes, that pale, unnatural gray, dropped to Reese's mouth, and something flickered there that Reese had never seen on his face before. Not boredom, not mockery, hunger. Then it was gone, and Sebastian shoved him back, so hard Reese landed flat on the grass for the 5th time that day. "Yield," Sebastian said again, louder this time, already turning away, already back to sounding like nothing had happened, since apparently you need it said twice. Reese lay there on his back, staring up at the sky, his heart pounding for reasons that had nothing to do with losing. "You okay?" Milo appeared above him, grinning down like this was the best day of his life. "I'm going to kill him." "Sure." "Or," Milo said, offering a hand to pull him up. "And hear me out, you could stop staring at his mouth every time he throws you on the ground." "I wasn't staring at his mouth. Buddy, everyone was staring at you staring at his mouth. Coach Danvers was staring at you staring at his mouth." Reese grabbed his friend's hand and yanked himself up, ignoring the heat crawling up his neck. "I hate this school." "You love this school. You're just mad the hot vampire won't fight you properly." "He fights plenty properly. He just—" Reese stopped himself before he could finish that sentence, because he had no idea where it was going, and he did not trust himself to find out in public. Across the field, Sebastian Vale was pulling his jacket back on, calm as ever, not looking at Reese at all, which was exactly the problem. Reese had spent 3 years convinced that Sebastian looked at him like he was an annoying net that wouldn't go away. He had not expected, today, for a small and horrifying voice in his head to whisper, "What if he doesn't hate me at all?" He shoved the thought down where it belonged, deep in the part of his brain he never visited on purpose, and stormed off the field before his face could give anything else away. Here is the thing nobody tells you about being an alpha werewolf. Everyone assumes you're in control of everything, all the time, including your own body. This is a lie people who have never met Reese Calloway made up to sound impressive at parties. The truth was that ever since the incident on the training field, Reese had started calling it the incident in his head, capital letters and everything, like it deserved its own file in a police report. His wolf had been doing something deeply unhelpful. It kept whispering one name, not the name of his pack, not the name of anyone useful. "Vale, you're doing the face again," Milo said over lunch, 3 days later, watching Reese stab a piece of chicken like it had personally wronged him. "What face?" "The face where you're thinking about him and pretending you're not." "I am thinking about how much I hate group projects," Reese said, which was technically also true, because that morning Professor Ashby had announced, with what Reese was fairly sure was actual malicious glee, that the semester's final project in interspecies law would be done in partners. Partners assigned alphabetically by last name. "Calloway. Vale. This is punishment," Reese said, staring at the paper in his hands like it might change if he glared hard enough. "This is the universe punishing me for something. I want to know what I did." "You were born with a last name that starts with C," said his packmate Talia, sliding into the seat across from him with her tray. She was one of the sharpest betas in the Calloway pack, and also, unfortunately, extremely amused by his suffering. "Honestly, this is kind of iconic. You two have hated each other since freshman orientation." "We don't hate each other," Reese said automatically, then heard himself and winced. "I mean, I hate him. He probably doesn't feel anything, because he's a robot with good bone structure." "Sure," Talia said. "That's why you got detention for growling at him in the library." "He was chewing loudly on purpose to annoy me." "Vampires don't need to eat food, Reese." "He wasn't chewing anything. You imagined it." Reese opened his mouth, then closed it again, because that was, unfortunately, also true. He had absolutely imagined an entire noise conflict that had gotten him banned from the 2nd floor of the library for a week. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "This is Sebastian. I got your number from the professor's roster. We should meet to discuss the project. Tonight. The East Library, 7 o'clock. Don't be late. I don't enjoy waiting." Reese stared at it for a long moment. "Who's that?" Milo asked. "You look like you want to throw the phone into the sun." "It's him." "Oh, Talia leaned over to read it upside down, grinning wider by the second. Don't enjoy waiting. Reese. He's being bossy. You love bossy. I do not love bossy. I am bossy. There's a difference, and there is no universe. You're already typing a reply, Milo pointed out. Reese looked down. His thumbs had, without his permission, already typed out, I'll be there. Try not to be insufferable for 1 hour. He hit send before he could second-guess it, then immediately regretted every choice that had led him to this exact moment in his life. The East Library at 7 o'clock was mostly empty, lit by old brass lamps that made everything look softer than it was, which Reese thought was extremely unfair because it meant Sebastian Vale looked even better than usual, sitting at a corner table with a stack of books already open, sleeves pushed up, looking like something out of a painting nobody asked him to pose for. You're late, Sebastian said, without looking up. I'm exactly on time. You're 4 minutes late. That's basically on time. It's 4 minutes of my life I will never get back. You're immortal, Reese said, dropping into the seat across from him with more force than necessary. You have infinite minutes. Spare me 4. For the first time all evening, Sebastian looked up, and there was something almost like amusement tugging at the corner of his mouth. It was gone fast, but Reese caught it, and something warm and stupid unfurled in his chest at having caused it. He hated that feeling immediately. Fine, Sebastian said. Interspecies law. Professor Ashby wants a case study on a historical treaty violation. I already picked one. Of course you did. Did you also already write the whole paper without me? I considered it. You would have complained about being left out. I absolutely would have. So I didn't. Sebastian slid a folder across the table. I picked the Callaway Vale Accord of 1847. Reese's stomach dropped. Of all the treaties in 200 years of supernatural history, of course he picked that one. You're joking. I told you I don't joke. You want us to write a paper together about the exact treaty our families broke. The exact reason our families hate each other. I think, Sebastian said, leaning back in his chair, watching Reese with an expression that was suddenly far too focused, that it's the only topic in this entire library I find interesting enough to spend hours discussing with you. Reese did not know what to do with a sentence like that. It sounded almost like a compliment, wrapped inside an insult, wrapped inside something else he didn't have a name for. You're unbelievable, he muttered, mostly to have something to say. So I've been told. They worked for almost 2 hours after that, and it was, against every expectation Reese had walked in with, not miserable. Sebastian was infuriatingly smart, but he also had this dry, deadpan sense of humor that snuck up on Reese when he least expected it. A comment about how the original treaty's terms were written by a man who clearly did not proofread. A completely straight-faced remark that made Reese laugh so hard he nearly knocked over the library lamp. Every time he laughed, Sebastian watched him a beat too long. Reese noticed. He decided not to think about what it meant. At 9, the librarian started dimming the lights, and Reese realized with a small shock that 2 hours had passed, and he hadn't wanted to strangle anyone the entire time. Same time Thursday, Sebastian asked, packing up his books with the same neat precision he did everything. Yeah, fine, whatever. Reese stood too fast, nearly knocking his chair over, and Sebastian's hand shot out and steadied it before it could crash, fingers brushing Reese's for half a second. It was nothing. It was half a second. Reese felt it in his teeth. You all right? Sebastian asked, and there was something in his voice, low, careful, almost concerned, that Reese had genuinely never heard directed at him before. Fine, Reese said, too fast, already backing away. I'm fine. See you Thursday. Don't miss me too much. He didn't wait for a response. He walked out of that library so fast he nearly took the door off its hinges, and it was only once he was outside in the cold night air, heart hammering, that he let himself admit the truth. He hadn't wanted to leave. 3 weeks later, Reese Callaway had a problem, and the problem had a name, and the name was currently sitting 2 seats down from him in interspecies law, laughing, actually laughing, quietly, at something Talia said, like it was the most natural thing in the world. Werewolves didn't get crushes quietly. It wasn't in their biology. When a werewolf liked someone, everyone within a 10-mile radius knew about it, because their scent changed, their heart rate spiked, and worst of all, their wolf started reacting to things it had no business reacting to, which was how Reese found himself, One Tuesday evening, standing outside the campus coffee shop with every hair on his body standing straight up, glaring at a very confused sophomore vampire who had made the fatal mistake of standing too close to Sebastian in line. Reese. Milo grabbed his arm before he could do something monumentally stupid. What are you doing? Nothing. You are growling at a 19-year-old for holding a cup of coffee near Vale. He was in his personal space. He was ordering a caramel latte. Reese, he wasn't proposing marriage. Reese forced himself to look away, jaw tight, arms crossed so hard his knuckles ached. Across the shop, Sebastian caught his eye through the window, and for one horrifying second, Reese was sure he'd seen the entire thing, the growling, the glaring, all of it. Sebastian's mouth curved into the smallest, most insufferable smirk Reese had ever seen. He knew. He absolutely knew. I hate him, Reese said, with zero conviction. You've hated him for 3 years, and yet somehow this is the first time you've threatened a stranger over a latte, Milo said. Kind of a big development, buddy. Shut up. I'm just saying. Possessive is a whole personality trait now. The truth Reese had been actively avoiding for weeks, was that something had shifted between them, and he had no idea when or how. It had started small. Sebastian saving him a seat in class without being asked. Reese catching himself smiling at a text before he'd even processed sending one back. Study sessions that stretched past midnight for no real reason, because neither of them wanted to be the first to say it was time to leave. And then there was the scent thing. It had started 2 weeks ago. Reese had been sitting close to Sebastian, closer than necessary, if he was honest, and had caught, for the first time, what Sebastian actually smelled like underneath the cold library air and old books. Something dark and rich, like the inside of an old cathedral, like rain on stone. And underneath that, something else. Something that made the wolf in his chest go very, very still, the way it only ever did around one thing. Pack. Home. Mine. Reese had nearly fallen out of his chair. He hadn't told anyone. He especially hadn't told Sebastian, because saying it out loud would make it real, and if it was real, it meant the boy his family had taught him to hate for 200 years might actually be his fated mate. And that was the kind of information that could get a person disowned, exiled, or worse, mocked mercilessly by his own beta for the rest of his natural life. You're doing the face again, Milo said, watching him. I told you there is no face. There's absolutely a face. It's the, I'm having a crisis about a vampire face. I've seen it 40 times this month. Before Reese could argue, the coffee shop door opened and Sebastian walked out, 2 cups in hand, and crossed the courtyard directly toward them like it was the most normal thing in the world. For you, Sebastian said, holding 1 cup out to Reese. You always complain that the campus coffee is terrible. I got you the good kind. Reese stared at the cup like it might bite him. You bought me coffee. I bought myself a coffee and got a second one out of habit. Don't make it a whole thing. You don't even drink coffee. You're a vampire. I like the smell, Sebastian said simply, and something about the flat, matter-of-fact way he said it made it worse, not better, because it meant he'd remembered, actually remembered, and thought about it, and acted on it. A tiny detail about Reese's coffee order from a passing complaint weeks ago. Reese took the cup. Their fingers brushed again. It happened more and more lately, these little brushes, and every single time Reese's whole nervous system short-circuited a little. Thanks, Reese mumbled, staring very intently at the coffee lid. You're welcome, Sebastian said, and then, quieter, almost like he hadn't meant to say it out loud. You smell different today. Reese's head snapped up. What? Nothing. Sebastian's jaw ticked, and for the first time, Reese saw something crack in that perfect composure. A flicker of the same panic Reese had been drowning in for weeks. Forget I said that. No, what did you mean? I smell different. I have class, Sebastian said abruptly, and turned and walked away so fast it might as well have been a run. Leaving Reese standing there holding a coffee he didn't ask for and a heart that would not slow down no matter how hard he willed it to. Milo looked between Reese and Sebastian's retreating back, then back at Reese, very slowly putting the pieces together. Oh my God, Milo said. It's not just you. Shut up. He feels it too. Shut up, Milo. You two are going to be insufferable, Milo said, grinning so wide it looked painful. I cannot wait. The full moon trials were the one night of the semester every werewolf on campus took seriously, no exceptions, And this year Reese had exactly 0 patience left for anything getting in his way, including, apparently, his own mate Bond deciding to fully activate in the middle of the biggest event of the year. The trials were simple in theory. Under the full moon, every wolf pack sent their strongest fighter into the arena to compete for territory standing. As Alpha, Reese always fought. He'd won 2 years running. This year, though, something felt different in his chest the second the moon rose. Sharper, hungrier, more urgent, like his wolf knew something Reese didn't. He found out what it was the second he stepped into the arena and saw Sebastian standing at the edge of the crowd, arms crossed, watching him with an intensity that made every other sound in the arena disappear. Vampires didn't usually watch the trials. It wasn't their event. But there Sebastian was, front row, still and unreadable, and the second their eyes met, Reese's wolf surged forward so hard he nearly stumbled. Mine, something in his chest whispered, low and certain. He came for you. Claim him. Reese shook his head hard, trying to clear it, and turned his focus to his opponent, a massive wolf from the Ashford pack named Greer, easily the strongest challenger this year. The whistle blew, the crowd roared, and for the first 3 minutes, Reese fought like he always did, sharp and fast and vicious. Then Greer landed a hit that sent him skidding across the dirt, and for one dizzying second, Reese looked up and saw Sebastian on his feet, gripping the railing so hard the metal groaned, his eyes gone dark and dangerous in a way Reese had never seen before. "Get up," Sebastian said, voice carrying clean across the arena even over the noise, low and commanding in a way that hit Reese somewhere primal. "Get up, Calloway." Something about hearing Sebastian say his name like that. Not mocking, not bored, but sharp with something that sounded a lot like fear, lit a fire in Reese's chest that no amount of training ever had. He got up. He fought harder than he ever had in his life, and 3 minutes later, Greer was on the ground, and the crowd was screaming his name, and Reese Calloway had won the trials for a 3rd year running. He didn't care about the win. He was already moving through the crowd toward the railing, toward Sebastian, chest heaving, blood still up from the fight. Every instinct in his body pointed at one single thing. "What are you doing here?" Reese demanded, stopping in front of him, close enough that he could smell that dark cathedral scent even over his own blood and sweat. "I don't know," Sebastian admitted, and it was the first time Reese had ever heard him say those 3 words. "I told myself I wasn't coming. I came anyway. You hate wolf events." "I don't hate you," Sebastian said, and it came out rough, almost involuntary, like it had been sitting behind his teeth for weeks trying to get out. "I have never hated you. I don't know what I've been doing, pretending otherwise." The crowd around them was loud, celebrating, completely oblivious, but for Reese the whole arena had gone silent except for the sound of his own heartbeat and Sebastian's words hanging in the air between them. "You're my mate," Reese said, because apparently 3 years of composure had finally run out, and the words just fell out of him, blunt and unplanned. "In the world to pull back, that I quite like arguing with you. I intend to do it for a very long time." "Good," Reese breathed, closing the last of the distance himself, done waiting, done pretending, done fighting the one thing his wolf had wanted since the very first day. "Because I'm not going anywhere." Somewhere behind them, Milo's voice rang out over the noise of the crowd, unmistakably smug. "Finally, I've had money on this since October." Neither of them heard him. 200 years of hatred between their families, 1 full moon, and 1 very stubborn alpha later. Reese Calloway kissed the vampire he'd spent 3 years pretending to despise, and the wolf in his chest finally went quiet. It would not stay quiet for long. Not with a family feud still unresolved, an Ashford pack humiliated in front of the whole campus, and a Vale family who had no idea their heir had just claimed a werewolf alpha as his mate in front of half the school. But that, Reese thought, smiling against Sebastian's mouth, was a problem for tomorrow.
And in mine on a quiet street slows my whole world down to a gentle beat. I'm lucky just to call you mine. Lucky to wake up and see you every time. The little things you do, the way you stay. I count it all a kind of grace each day. There won't be a day I don't need you near. Won't be a night If you wake up tired, if you wake up unsure, if the colors fade and the feeling's not as pure, you don't have to hide it, don't have to pretend. I'd rather know the truth than lose my friend. I'm lucky, even on the hard days. Lucky that you choose me in 100 different ways. And love that's real should never feel like rope. It should feel like windows, it should feel like hope. There won't be a day I don't need you near, won't be a night I don't want you here. But if the spark ever